Good morning. Welcome to episode 59 of the Corner of Knit and Tea. My name is Laura. I'm also known as Fluffy K on Ravelry, Fluffy Kira on Instagram and Twitter. I blog over at the Corner of Knit and Tea, and that's where this episode and show notes will be. I have an Etsy shop called the Stash Buckler Adventures in Yarn, where I sell my hand-spun yarns. And we have a Ravelry group called the Corner of Knit and Tea. You should come over and check us out. So, welcome! I am recording this episode ahead of time to coincide with the release of my brand new shawl pattern. So this is a very special episode dedicated to my shawl pattern, the name of which is Lost at Sea. And I am wearing that one today. I will take it off and show you. Lost at Sea is a two-color shawl knit on the bias, with alternating sections of garter stitch and smaller sections of kind of a wavy lace, and is finished in one of two ways. One is a ruffle at the edge, which I will show you shortly, and the other is the edging on this sample, which is an applied knit-on edging that I think looks like waves. So, let's go back to the beginning. Back when the folks at Stitchcraft Marketing contacted me about reviewing some fibers for them, they also asked whether I had done any designing and whether or not I was interested in doing so. And we went back and forth a little bit and discussed that we thought it would be great to have a hand-spun pattern to be releasing shortly after Spinzilla, when spinners had all their beautiful hand-spun yarns and were looking for things to knit. Luette North America generously donated the fiber for this project, and they are helping me sponsor and announce the pattern. The colorways are, as you have seen me spin before, Luette Northern Lights, which is their wool top in the Ocean Waves colorway. That is for the main garter section. And the contrasting color is Luette Merino in Quaddy Bay Gray. I spun both of those up to a roughly fingering weight yarn, and the shawl uses approximately 500 to 550 yards of yarn between the two contrasting colors. So, let's talk a little bit about my inspiration. Once we decided that I was going to knit a shawl, I had this very idea in mind. I wasn't sure about colors or exactly what lace pattern I would use. I knew that I wanted the pattern to be somewhat simple, particularly because I wanted to use a variegated skein of handspun, and I think that a lot of patterns sort of get distracted by color in handspun, but I just love all the wonderful colors when you spin a skein of, and it comes out sort of barber poled, and I think garter stitch is absolutely the best way to show off a beautiful skein of handspun. For this sample, I chose to use a second handspun yarn as the contrast, although the way I designed the shawl with fingering weight yarn, I think you could easily stretch a really precious skein of handspun by pairing it with a complementary commercial yarn, and I will show you an example of that shortly. So, like I said, it is a shawl knit on the bias, increases and decreases, and then you also have this pretty simple lace section, lots of garter. I ended up knitting this sample in about a week. The first sample took me a little bit longer. The pattern Lost at Sea is available for free on Ravelry, and there will be some promotions and giveaways that I will talk about shortly. So this is, like I said, the sample. I will pop in a few finished photos of the project. I want to thank my sample knitters. You will see a couple examples on Ravelry of the shawl, and I also want to thank my dear friend Anna Reiner, who runs the Well-Appointed Desk, for helping me take pattern photos. So a brief example, the first sample that I knit of the shawl, which I knit in my own yarn. Normally, I don't know that shawl designers knit multiple samples of the same shawl, but because it was my first design, I wanted to test knit a sample on my own before I committed to taking materials from another company, just to make sure that what I wanted to do would work, and that when I knit the sample that would be featured in the pattern pages, was in the photos, that it would look beautiful and that I wouldn't have to continually rip and change. So the first shawl that I knit, I actually swapped a little bit the variegated and the solid. The solid is some blue-faced Leicester nylon, blue-faced Leicester dyed in turquoise that was done for me by a friend, and I spun that up. And in this one, I actually did pair with a commercial yarn that is Madeline Tosh Merino Light in the sea salt colorway with the little bits of blue. Now on this shawl, I also did a slightly different ending. On this one, I just went ahead and did a solid ruffled edge because I liked how that looked. And the pattern itself has both endings in it, so you can sort of choose your own ending as you work through the shawl. Both my sample knitters knit their samples in commercial yarns, so this pattern is easily adaptable. You would need 2 skeins of fingering weight yarn, or to be honest, the contrast color really only requires half a ball to 2/3. So if you have some leftovers in your stash and you would like to pair them together, I think they would be great. The shawl is approximately 57 to 60 inches wide, and on the pattern itself, I have also translated that to centimeters, although I don't have that in front of me to tell you today. And it runs between 26 and 28 inches deep at the deepest point. So there is a schematic in the pattern of all the sizes that I got, and I have encouraged my sample knitters to put their dimensions in as well. So finally, just a little tidbit at the end of this podcast, I did mention there will be a giveaway. Louette has generously provided me with enough fiber to spin a kit for you. So I actually spun a second set of the yarns that I used in approximately the same amounts. This is the Louette Northern Lights in the Ocean Waves. It is a wool top, not specific about the wool. This is 375 yards of a fingering weight yarn that will be perfect to knit the shawl with. And the contrasting color, the merino in Quaddy Bay Gray. I will be starting, as soon as this episode airs, a thread in Ravelry to enter to win this hand-spun kit from me. The pattern, as I said, is free on Ravelry to be downloaded at any time. I will start a thread in the Corner of Knit and Tea group. In order to be eligible to win, you only need to be a member of the group and just need to post once and once only in the thread. And I will be doing a random number generator draw for the prize. The thread will be open until October 31st or through October 31st. And when I podcast on Sunday, November 1st, I will be announcing the winner of the kit. I also believe that Louette will be putting together spinning kits along with a hard copy of the pattern, and I will put a link to that in the show notes if you are a spinner and you would like to purchase it there. So thank you so much for joining me today. It has been a pleasure to speak to you, and I hope you're as excited about the release of this shawl as I am. I absolutely love this shawl. It is perfect for chilly fall days and under a coat, and I have had a blast knitting it and designing it, and I can't wait to see if you knit it and what you choose. So I will say goodbye for now, and actually I do even have a cup of tea here, so I will end with my normal greeting. Happy knitting, happy spinning, happy sipping, and I will see you next time. Bye.